What is up, everyone, and welcome back to NFL Talking More. I'm your host, Matthew Kettrick, and it's actually pretty bright, so we're going to actually close this, close that, turn on that. Hopefully you can see that better. I know you can see my amazing helmets over there. But anyways, I'm back. I mean, it's obviously been a while because I actually went to the Pittsburgh Steelers training camp, and oh my god, the Pittsburgh Steelers training camp was amazing, man. Just a great experience overall. Like, some guys sucked, some guys did good, but you love your team like either way, and it's just awesome to be there, dude. I got a signed football by some players. I got some high fives. I got T.J. Watt. Dude, Watt's hand is like this big, man. It's insane. And then I got Jalen Warren. I got Muth. Mika. I got a lot of guys. But yeah, I'm back from the training camp. Again, it was awesome. I'm gonna get more into the training camp. Honestly, maybe in a different podcast about what I saw. And since I've been away from a while, the Steelers actually had their first preseason game. Their first preseason game against the Houston Texans. I think they lost 20-10 Texans, which was pretty bad, honestly. I didn't really care too much because again, it was the backups. Our backups looked awful, though. We just have to pray that our starting QBs don't get hurt, because if they do, we're in for a little treat. But yeah, the starters honestly look good. I'm not going to get too much into it. All I'll say is that our starters overall looked actually decently good, honestly. But I do want to say it is a beautiful day to be talking about some football. Isn't that right? Actually, it's just me, honestly. Braden is watching the Cowboys lose to the Rams again because the Cowboys suck. And then Lorenzo is honestly somewhere. Guinean, he was supposed to hop on, but he couldn't. He didn't get back to me. So it's just me. But since no one is really here, all this is just going to be an NFL Talking More short. Another NFL Talking More short. Our last short was, I think, with George Pickens. This short is going to be about Brandon Aiyuk. Such a big talk right now. Brandon Aiyuk. Oh my freaking goodness. But yeah, before we start, just want to ask you guys if you want to like and subscribe just so you see more of this. And if you don't, then we're probably not going to do this. I'm probably going to do this either way just for the fun of it. But if you guys like and subscribe, then that's all I know that y'all are actually here and y'all actually support me. And, I really do appreciate it. Some people don't get any, so I support, or I appreciate what I can get. But besides that, we're going to get into the Brandon Aiyuk situation. Before we do, just one more thing. I just want to say, since this is an NFL short, it's not going to be too long. Again, it might be 15 minutes. It might be 20 minutes. My other buddies aren't here, so this isn't the official podcast. Our official podcast is around maybe 30 minutes, 35. This might be around like 15 or 10, maybe 20. So, yeah, let the short begin. This is actually insane, man. This whole Brandon Aiyuk thing is insane, and as a Steelers fan, I'm loving it. If you don't know, it's probably one of the biggest talks right now in the NFL. Brandon Aiyuk. The 49ers, I guess they just got sick of him, right? He wanted a lot of money, and he wanted to just shop around in the free agency to see what he can get. And it's just been, first it was just a little talk, right? It was like, Brandon Aiyuk's just blah, 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 blah. Now he's full on shopping. Now it's everywhere. So what happened is that the 49ers were like, all right, we want this guy out of here because he won't shut up. He wants so much money. We can't stand him. So they let him shop around, right? So Brandon the Patriots actually offer him stuff. They're like, yes, Brandon, please come to us because the Patriots are such dog water. the Patriots might be one of the worst teams next year. That's how down bad they are. And they're going to get what they can get. So they offered Aiyuk a lot of money. And of course Aiyuk didn't accept it. Why would he? Who would want to play? Who would want to play on the Patriots? Some people just do it for money, but you obviously want to go somewhere. I mean, would you rather get the most targets in football and the most money, but never go to a Super Bowl and just suck? Or would you rather get a decent amount of money and actually have a shot at a ring? Yeah, I mean, but yeah, Brandon Aiyuk did decline the offer of the Patriots. So again, they moved to the Cleveland Browns. Dude, the Cleveland Browns are so bad. The Cleveland Browns and the 49ers actually had a little offer, all right? And the 49ers actually accepted. They said that we would actually love to make this trade with Brandon Aiyuk. And Brandon Aiyuk declined it. He declined it. Brandon Aiyuk declined the trade, not the 49ers. The 49ers in Cleveland had it all set. Aiyuk just declined it. He didn't want to play on Cleveland, which I 100% support. I mean, who would want to play on the Cleveland Browns? Such a poverty franchise. Just in general, like, it's just insane. I mean, first the Patriots, and now the Browns. And now people are thinking like, oh my God, just pick a freaking team, right? So it's not Aiyuk or it's not the 49ers that declined it. It's Aiyuk. It's him. He doesn't want to play on the Browns. So now Pittsburgh comes in, right? Pittsburgh was there kind of from the beginning with the Patriots. They were kind of just chilling there, right? But it's kind of like that one friend that's in the group chat that really never talks. That's just kind of there. But honestly, when time progressed, Pittsburgh actually came out like they actually started to kind of walk into this conversation and try to pick up Aiyuk, because Aiyuk is a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. There's absolutely no doubt in that. And if you don't think that, you're just delusional. And Pittsburgh was actually, I mean, my guess is that they're making offers. They haven't, I mean, I don't think they've said anything official yet, but they haven't been making offers. And Cleveland, now since Cleveland and the Patriots actually, since they're technically out of the race because Aiyuk doesn't want to play in Cleveland and he doesn't want to play on the Patriots, it's just Pittsburgh. It's Pittsburgh and the 49ers. It's either he goes to Pittsburgh for maybe like 4 years, I'm guessing, or he'll stay with the 49ers. We're going to get into that right now. So Pittsburgh, in my opinion, is it's kind of just in general, they're one of the cheapest franchises in the NFL. They usually lean towards money historically in some cases. And the 49ers actually came out and they said that they want not only draft picks, but they also want players. Steelers haven't said anything since. So that obviously means that they've declined the offer because, again, going back to Pittsburgh being cheap, right? They've obviously declined the offer. And my personal guess is that they're stuck on the draft choices. They're not stuck on the players because the 49ers, I think the 49ers are going for another wide receiver to kind of replace Aiyuk. And the Steelers just, they have received. I think that the Steelers, I think it would be okay to trade Calvin Austin. He's a good receiver, but he hasn't accomplished really. He's accomplished stuff. I won't say that. I know that'll make some people mad. But let's just be honest, right? He's solid and mid. And the Steelers just got Van Jefferson, which honestly, maybe they trade him, maybe. But the 49ers are obviously looking at a receiver. But the Steelers, again, they haven't said anything since, so they obviously declined it. But they haven't said anything official yet that they're out of the race. So right now, it's the Steelers and the 49ers. Like, that's the only teams / trading that's happening right now. It's the Steelers and it's the 49ers. And again, I mean, I don't think the Steelers are going to give up like a bunch of picks, because all I know is that the 49ers right now, I'm guessing they probably want a second pick and maybe a third round pick. Steelers aren't going to do that. Again, they're cheap. And my now again, my personal opinion is that the Steelers are actually winning in this scenario. They're actually winning, right? You actually think that the 49ers are in control now, right? Oh, the 49ers own Aiyuk. They can do whatever they want. It's actually Pittsburgh that's in charge right now. It is genuinely Pittsburgh that is in charge. And I will tell you why right now. Because the 49ers are getting desperate every day. The 49ers obviously don't want Brandon Aiyuk, right? They're just sick of him. Like, they don't want him anymore. They don't want Aiyuk. Hold on, we have a chat from Braden Lamania. Aiyuk, going to Pittsburgh without a doubt, but he's getting stubborn. Braden, I do agree Aiyuk is getting stubborn. Honestly, just pick a team. Honestly, but what we were saying before is, and maybe you guys can type in the chat and answer with me, Pittsburgh is winning in the scenario. Pittsburgh is winning because the 49ers are getting insanely desperate right now because they obviously don't want Aiyuk, right? Like, he's wanting so much money, he's being a baby, he's being that and this and that. So they're obviously, we want him out. Take him. We want him out. Like, does anyone want him? Because he's here. Take him out. So Pittsburgh, right? They're like, hey, I'll take him. Hey, I want him. Pittsburgh will obviously take him because he'll make their offense 10 times better. And if Pittsburgh gets Aiyuk, they're going to be a hell of a good team, man. Pittsburgh is going to be a hell of a good team if they get Aiyuk. And the 49ers, again, this is my opinion, why Pittsburgh is winning. The 49ers are offering Pittsburgh, like, just stuff about trading, right? About Aiyuk, about, you get this and I get this, right? So let's just say the 49ers say, you know what? I want a second round pick and I want a third round pick and I want Calvin Austin, right? Pittsburgh is going to be like, I don't think so. Nah, I'm still in here, but I don't think I want to do that trade. So that's one day, right? As the days progress, the 49ers are getting desperate. They're like, oh man, like, what are we going to do? Because they decline. Like, we still have this guy. Like, what do we do? So the 49ers, right? They're like, all right, well, then we'll give you, we want a second round pick and Calvin Austin. Pittsburgh? Maybe. Right. And then the days progress. The 49ers are insanely desperate. They don't want this guy anymore. They're like, who is going to take him? Who wants this guy? Because we don't want him. And these days are getting closer. We're desperate, right? So they come to Pittsburgh and they're like, all right. Like, yo, please, man, just please. All right, we'll give you a second round pick and a third round pick, right? Steelers, they might accept that. They might accept a second round pick, maybe something else, or they might accept a third round pick, and Pittsburgh will honestly get him insanely cheaper. That's probably what might happen. That's what they did with Fields, honestly. That's why Pittsburgh is winning in this scenario right now, because if they keep holding out, the 49ers get more desperate, and the 49ers like know that Pittsburgh wants Aiyuk, and Aiyuk wants to go to Pittsburgh. Aiyuk does want to go to Pittsburgh. And they know that, and they're like, all right, well, let's just get this trade done and over with. We don't want him. Just go. Pittsburgh declines, and they're like, oh, fine. Second-round pick, third-round pick, and then Jefferson. They decline. Fine. Second-round pick and third-round pick. Like, it slowly gets cheaper, right? That's a really good strategy that the Pittsburgh Steelers are doing right now. That's why the Pittsburgh Steelers are insanely smart in this situation. That's why the Steelers are on top in this whole thing that's going on, right? That's what's happening right now. That's why I think that soon Brandon Aiyuk might come to Pittsburgh. And again, we have a supporter right here in the chat, Braden Lamagna, right? Says he's going to Pittsburgh. I do too. And again, we can look at also we can look at Aiyuk's stats, right? I mean, Aiyuk is only 26 years old. So I'm guessing maybe Steelers, like 4 or 3 years for the Steelers. I'd say just about just under 30 million a year, right? Just under 30 million a year. So I'd say maybe 3 or 4 years, maybe 27 million, 28, 27 million a year, right? That's just me though, right? You guys can say your stuff in the comments. I'm going to look at them after. But yeah, I mean, we can also look at his stats, right? I mean, like together career-wise, I'm just going career. So this is just these 3 or 4 years, right? So he had 269 yards, 399 targets, and 3,931 yards, 25 touchdowns. That's a top 10 receiver right there. By what I said, that's at least a top 7 or top 10 receiver. If not top 10, top 7. He is not top 12. If you think he is top 12, you are delusional. He's at least top 10. So I honestly see why the Steelers want him. I think that with him and Pickens, the Steelers honestly might come out number 1 in the AFC North. I know it's a really hot take, but the Steelers honestly might come out not number 1 in the AFC North if they get Brandon Aiyuk. Because let's look at their wide receiver. Their wide receiver duos, right? Justin Fields in the preseason game looked honestly decent with a little pinch of good, right? Look decent with a little pinch of good. And just think about that, right? You think about Lamar, you think about Henry, you think about Burrow and Chase. If Justin Fields actually does good, because we can compare Justin Fields to Baker Mayfield, maybe, right? When Baker Mayfield went to Cleveland, he sucked. And then when he went to Tampa Bay, he went to the playoffs. That just proves that Cleveland sucks. But besides that, sometimes players are in the bad scenarios. Sometimes they're just in bad teams and they need to be in a different environment. That might be the same thing with Justin Fields. Maybe Fields was drowning in Chicago and he went to Pittsburgh, and now maybe something's going to change, right? So if Fields actually progresses, actually does good, think about Justin Fields, George Pickens, and Brandon Aiyuk, right? Because George Pickens is top 10 too. I mean, he's insane. He's probably the most underrated wide receiver, at least one of them in the NFL right now, because unlike every receiver, he has alien hands. He only needs one hand, right? He's insane. So just think about that compared with Aiyuk, right? That'd be maybe top 5 or top 7, one of the best wide receiver duos in the NFL, if not 5 and top 3, at least top 5 or top 7, right? So you kind of have to think about that. Now, honestly, this also kind of looks good for Pickens too, because if the Steelers pay Aiyuk, again, like 28, 27 million a year, then maybe Pickens is looking at a cha-ching big paycheck at the end of his at the end of his contract. Maybe he's like, oh man, wow, this guy got paid. I'm next, right? Maybe it might be that. And we can also talk about that there's, again, a little thing going on where the 49ers are talking to Aiyuk about a long-term deal. Honestly, I'm not supporting that at all. I kind of disagree on that because, I mean, Pittsburgh said absolutely nothing about leaving the race. They didn't post anything about we're done with Brandon Aiyuk. We're not going to get him. Pittsburgh is still in this race, right? They're still in it. And, I mean, again, that's just my opinion, right? I'm going to get into my final opinion right now, and then I'm going to look at the chat. So, my personal opinion about Brandon Aiyuk, right? Day to day, something new happens. My personal final opinion about Brandon Aiyuk. Brandon Aiyuk will go to the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's just me. Brandon Aiyuk will go to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And here's my opinion, right? The Steelers have been in this topic since day one of when this whole thing started. They've been in here since day one, right? Doesn't that say something? Doesn't that say that they're in the conversation? And by them being in this conversation since day one, that kind of means that they're gonna get him, if that makes sense. But I mean, I kind of covered everything while talking about the podcast with Aiyuk and everything. But I honestly also might add about what Mike Tomlin said. I can't remember the exact words, but the media was asked if the Steelers are going to get Brandon Aiyuk, and I can't remember it off the top of my head, but Mike Tomlin said, like, I'll let you guys talk about it, and he was grinning. To me, that means that Mike Tomlin and Aiyuk are talking, right? And probably at this point, Mike Tomlin and Brandon Aiyuk and the Pittsburgh Steelers have made a deal. There's no doubt in that. After all this time, the Pittsburgh Steelers and Brandon Aiyuk have made a deal. The Pittsburgh Steelers and Brandon Aiyuk. I didn't say the 49ers. I said the Pittsburgh Steelers and Brandon Aiyuk probably have made a deal at this point. And they probably maybe agreed on it too. Probably. But not with the 49ers. So, again, like I said, this refers to my final, or this goes back with my final opinion. The Steelers are going to keep waiting. They're going to keep waiting. The clock is ticking. And then at that one point, the 49ers are insanely desperate and they say, I give up. Just take him. Second round pick and a third round pick. And the Steelers go, I'll do that. Right? So, again, that's my final opinion. Brandon Aiyuk will go to the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's my opinion. Brandon Aiyuk will go to the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's been so much talk. It's about to happen. Brandon Aiyuk will go to the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's my take. We're going to look at the chat. It's actually all Braden. Congratulations to Braden for just being the number one chat guy, I guess. We're going to look at Braden. Look at the chat. Eventually, Aiyuk is going to snap and fold, and a deal will get done, and it is the Cowboys' year. Okay? I think he's going to get overpaid. Still Braden. And, I mean, I don't think Aiyuk's going to get overpaid. I think, again, like I said, 28, 27 million a year isn't terrible. I think that's actually what it should be, honestly. And the last thing with Braden, if the Steelers get Aiyuk, who do you think will start, Pickens or Aiyuk? That is a good question, Braden. I honestly think it honestly might be a competition. I mean, if you look at Pickens, he's not really known, but he is absolutely insane. But if you look at Aiyuk, Aiyuk really puts up those stats. Aiyuk is one of those guys. Now, honestly, this is my first year with fantasy. Wish me luck. I've learned that Brandon Aiyuk is one of those guys that you want for fantasy because Aiyuk actually puts up a lot. Besides CMC and besides Kittle, if it's not CMC, if it's not Kittle, Brandon Aiyuk. And if you look at the stats, Brandon Aiyuk does put up really good stats. He puts up really good yards, right? Puts up a lot of touchdowns. And again, he only had 3 fumbles. But if we go, right, this is why I think that Brandon Aiyuk actually probably might start for Braden, is because, right, if we look at the yards, right, so Aiyuk has played for the 49ers for 4 years. And these past 2 years, looking back these past 2 years, he's had both 1,000-yard seasons. That really says something. And Aiyuk, everyone knows this. He is a top 10 receiver in the NFL. He honestly might be top 5 wide receivers in fantasy. So, Braden, I'm going to go with Aiyuk starting. I'm going to go with Pickens being wide receiver 2, and I'm going to go Brandon Aiyuk being wide receiver 1. That's me. I'm probably going to end at 30 minutes. Braden, or just anyone. This show ends at 30 minutes. We have 26 minutes left. If you want to get any questions in now, then do it, and I will answer them. So just going to wait for 4 minutes. Again, we're waiting for 4 minutes. Get your questions in now, all right? Get your questions in now. We already have Braden with one question about the Steelers, who will be starting, who will be the wide receiver 1. I already answered that. So, again, if you guys have any questions, then put them down now because I'm about to end soon. So, I gotta eat dinner. So, put your questions in now. I'm just going to keep saying it just in case. Oh, we have another question. Do you think Russell Wilson be better than last year? Really can't say anything right now, honestly. Oh wait, yeah, that was Braden who said that. I just want to say, right now I haven't seen him play, but I think Russell Wilson was ranked like top 3, or no, he might have been ranked number 1. Correct me if I'm wrong, in the best fourth quarter scenarios or something like that. Russ is a good QB, dude. He went to 2 Super Bowls, and you can kind of make an argument that he sucks, but again, he wasn't in Denver. Denver is not good, right? When Russell Wilson was in Seattle, he did decent because the Seahawks were decent. When he went to Denver, didn't really do good. And if you look at Denver, right, these past couple of years, they suck. Besides Cortland Sutton and all those guys, they're really, really not good. And they're probably going to get worse, honestly. Now, referring back to Baker Mayfield, where when some players switch to new teams, they get better. Some guys pop out like that. Like some guys in the NFL, like some of these veterans, when they go to a new team, they just feel reborn. I think Russ has that mentality to be reborn, honestly. I honestly think that in the next 3 games, Fields is going to get the starting job. He's not going to be our franchise key. Maybe he will. But I bet you maybe, or probably the Steelers are probably going to draft someone next year, like a quarterback. But yeah, that's what I think. All right, guys, like 30 more seconds. Any questions? Any questions? It seems like Braden is he said it's the Cowboys year, so it seems like Braden is a Cowboys fan. So Braden, what do you think about CeeDee Lamb? What do you think about CeeDee Lamb, Braden? Because if you're a true Cowboys fan, then maybe you should know about Lamb. I mean, I don't know who you are. Dude, how about that? I have Braden who's doing the podcast, and then there's a Braden in the chat right now, right? That's insane. So, Braden, what do you think about CeeDee Lamb? I want to know. Do you think, just in general, like, because I know there's some there's some drama going around. So, Braden, what do you think about CeeDee Lamb? You got anything with CeeDee Lamb? He's a top 3 wide receiver, and Jerry Jones is being really stupid, but I think he will get signed. It is only a matter of time. Okay. All right, cool. All right, yeah, I mean, I just want to ask right now, Braden, if you have any more questions, because I will answer them. If you have any more questions, and I'm here. Seems like Braden is the only guy in the chat right now. So, well, there's 2 people. So, whoever the other person is, hello. All right, how you doing? How you doing? So, Braden, if you have any more questions, just say yes or no, because I got through all my topics. So, yeah. What do you think the AFC North standings are going to look like? That's a good question. AFC North is probably not only one of the best divisions, but one of the most competing divisions. My other friend Braden, he has this like NFL standings board in his man cave where it's like a little board with like all the divisions on it, and you can like move each team of how you think they're gonna do. I actually found one on eBay and we got it. So when it comes, I'm gonna do some division standings. But right now, if I had to do it right now, I mean, my opinion's probably going to change, right? So now this is just going to be for now, my opinion, right? Last is the Cleveland Browns. They suck, and they're always going to get, they're going to suck, right? It's the Browns. They're always going to suck, and they're never going to win a Super Bowl because they're awful. Third and second, I have the Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And they're not in any specific order at all. Because I'm going to say right now, healthy Joey B, second. Hurt Joey B, third. Healthy Joey B, Brandon Aiyuk on the Pittsburgh Steelers, Bengals at third. Because you can make an argue that Joey B and Jamar Chase are just insane, and Brandon Aiyuk doesn't match with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But if you look at it, the Bengals have Joey B, Jamar Chase, I think T. Higgins, right? Yeah. The Steelers, right, they have Justin Fields, right? This is if. Brandon Aiyuk, George Pickens, Van Jefferson, and Pat Fryer Muth. The reason I said Muth is because who's the Bengals tight end? I don't even know. So if they get Aiyuk, the Steelers are going to be insane. That's an if. I will make another podcast about Brandon Aiyuk and the Pittsburgh Steelers if he signs. Because if he signs, the Steelers are insanely different. They're probably going to be one of the most different teams in the NFL if they sign Aiyuk. And there's going to be, boom, he's here, right? So again, that's my take. It's probably gonna change soon because when Aiyuk comes to the Steelers, I'm gonna do the whole NFL division standings. That's just me. So yeah, that's my take. Again, guys, just say yes or no if you have any more questions, and I'm here to answer them. It seems like Braden's typing a lot. Braden, if you have any questions, just ask them. And if you don't, just say, I don't know, just say something. Right? Braden, if you don't have any more questions, then just type, just say I don't have any more questions. Or if you have a question, then ask it. I don't think Braden said I don't have. All right. So, again, my final take. Soon, Steelers are reeling in. The 49ers are getting desperate. Brandon Aiyuk, in my opinion, is going to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's just me. That's my take. I'm Matt on NFL Talking More. Thank you so much for sticking around with me. And I'll say this now. Our regular podcast we're gonna do Isaiah Pacheco has been delayed because actually the other Braden on the podcast actually plays football with me. Right? Braden's actually really good, man. Braden is actually one of my best friends, man. Braden he's awesome. He is awesome. Awesome guy, right? Has the football spirit. You would love to meet him, right? He is awesome. He is awesome. And I probably wouldn't be playing football without Braden because I joined just because Braden joined. And honestly, he's just a really good friend. Braden is probably one of my best friends, honestly. I really like Braden as a friend, man. He's just awesome. But besides, I mean, yeah, that's kind of why I play football with him. And because of that, we have two-a-days. If you don't know what two-a-days are, they're 2 practices in one day. So we have to do practice, and then we have to eat lunch. And then we have another practice again. So our whole week is going to be insanely tight, right? Because we have, and actually Lorenzo, the other guy that's on the podcast, actually Lorenzo, is actually like one of our starting linemen. Actually, he is the starting guard for our football team. I'm not going to say our football team because that would expose my location. I exposed my location a couple of times on my old channel, and I'm never doing that ever again. I got really scared. So I'm not going to say the name of our team, but we are on our school's football team, and Lorenzo is one of the best guards you will like. The dude is massive. The dude is insane. Lorenzo deadlifts like 450. He's only a freshman. And then my other buddy Sawyer, he deadlifts like 475. But yeah, we got Braden and Lorenzo on the podcast. They play football with me. That's kind of how it started. But yeah, so in general, this whole thing is going to be packed. Whole week's going to be packed. After the whole week is done, down to do the podcast on Saturday or Sunday. We're going to do the regular podcast with Isaiah Pacheco on the weekend. And then I'm probably going to make an NFL short on Brandon Aiyuk. It's if he gets traded to Pittsburgh this week, I'm making a podcast about it. Like a short. We're still doing Pacheco, but if Aiyuk gets traded, if Aiyuk gets traded to Pittsburgh, I'm here. But it's got to be on the weekend. So that sucks. But yeah, if Aiyuk gets traded to Pittsburgh, or expect a short on the weekend. Also expect a podcast on the weekend about Isaiah Pacheco, but this whole week I'm out. Probably after I do Pacheco, I'm going to talk about what I saw at the Steelers training camp, and I can also talk about what I thought about week 1 of preseason with the Pittsburgh Steelers, or their first game, right? So that's kind of it, right? As the season starts, I'm going to leave. I mean, you can leave now. These are just announcements. As the season starts, we are going to do our regular podcast. But as the season starts, this is going to be, we're going to do the podcast and then we're going to be Steelers because, I mean, look at me. Every week, we're going to do a podcast of how the Steelers did. And we're going to invite Braden on because Braden is a Cowboys fan. And we're also going to talk about how the Cowboys did because Braden's a big fan of the Cowboys. So we're gonna talk about the Cowboys too. So we're gonna do the Steelers and the Cowboys. But that's besides the fact. Thank you guys, right? Thank you so much for sticking with me. I love doing this stuff. Braden should be back Saturday, Sunday, I'd say. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of it. I'll see you guys. Go Steelers.